Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here with two of my great friends and partners, Pugal from Snowflake, the global manufacturing CTO, and Chinmay, a partner manager from AWS. I'm Eddie Atkins, part of our alliances team here at Tulip, and excited to share with you what we're doing with some of our customers, but also how we work with an open ecosystem platform to enable impacts. We'll have a bit of a discussion and share some of our perspectives. So first of all, why does Tulip exist? There's two core beliefs that we have. One is that every manufacturing environment is unique. And I think hopefully everyone that's been to a manufacturing floor will understand this, that even two production lines sitting next to each other that are doing exactly the same thing can be very different. The second part is that it needs to be very dynamic. As a manufacturer, you don't want to have something fixed that's going to have to live for many weeks or years. You want to be able to change it every day and maybe even iterate and improve it every hour. So you need to live with this environment, and we want to provide software that allows you to actually meet these criteria. The challenge we have is that many software and solutions that you use as manufacturers actually ends up being something that's very unintuitive for the operators to use, unintuitive for you as managers and process engineers to use. You may have a point solution that solves a very particular problem very, very well, but how do you get the data out of it and into other systems? And still, more often than not, when I walk shop floors, I see people using paper to collect inspection results or to manage a process on a whiteboard. So the reality is digitization is not there across the shop floor as much as we wish we would like it. I'd like to maybe hand over to Chinmay here. Chinmay, introduce yourself. Tell us a bit what you're doing at AWS. How does this reality link to what you see with your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Eddie. Chinmay Joshi here. I lead manufacturing and supply chain partnerships at AWS. To help our customers solve their problem in a joint way. Yes, we pretty much see the similar scenarios with our manufacturing customers. We work with many manufacturing leaders to understand their challenges. And the challenges are across three main areas, if I want to classify. They are across the data, we see the cost, and then we see in terms of losing the context in the current ecosystem. In the manufacturing environment, we see that the data is coming from various different sources. They are coming from sensors, they are coming from your shop floor lines, they are coming from different legacy systems, and more often than not, this data is in a different format. So getting these operational data silos together is a big challenge. At the same time, in terms of cost, it requires really high investment if we see the traditional systems. And a lot of money has to be spent on training if somebody wants to implement new systems. So addressing the cost as we go towards next generation solutions is one of the challenge. And to summarize, I think losing the context is a big part of the challenge. In the legacy environment, there are not the relationships don't hold the same meaning that they were holding some time back. And building that context in the current environment is the key challenge. So, so I completely agree with you in terms of how Tulip is seeing and AWS seeing is pretty much aligned.
Thanks, Chinmay. So two really important things there. You mentioned the skills challenge of deploying digital solutions and how we can bring that down, but also the context of the information. Just having the machine data is not enough. We want more context about the order that ran and more valuable information that we can use for our modeling. Pugal, introduce yourself. Tell us, what do you do as the CTO of manufacturing field services at Snowflake, and what Snowflake want to do in manufacturing?
Yeah, thank you. So again, I think Snowflake launched Manufacturing Cloud literally 2 years back here in this venue in 2023, Hannover Messe.
Yeah.
Again, our intention was to provide customer an opportunity to leverage Snowflake as a unified namespace where we provide mechanisms to ingest the IT and OT data sources into a Snowflake environment, as Chinmay mentioned, with context. That is the key. Plant hierarchy, asset model, unit of measure, every one of it you should be able to represent and consume within Snowflake. And as you mentioned here, even 2 weeks back I was in a plant floor 99.9% of the work being done is paper-based today. It doesn't matter which plant floor we go into. 8 o'clock shift starts. First time all of them meet together. They pull down yesterday's reports and try to understand where was the bottleneck, how do I solve it today? They're not pulling down the data, what we are trying to give it to them. So that's where this partnership also becomes important, because we need more and more solutions on Snowflake where we can enable frontline operators to take intelligent decisions. That's why this is so important for us. So completely aligned on the challenges what you showed there.
Exciting. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll be, as we go through some of the examples that we've been working on together, looking forward to having your expertise. Firstly, I wanted to share a case study of what we've done with AWS, and what does that really look like for a customer. So this customer here is implementing digital at the shop floor, error-proofing a process that previously was run on paper, but then bringing that information into the cloud through AWS that they can then use across their organization. And these implementations have real business value. They focus on solving a problem of how can we ensure this operator here never makes an error? How can we ensure that we have the admin work that the person had to do to inspect that is not needed. It happens automatically by the digital technology. And not how can we just do it at this one station, but how can we do this in the 100 stations in this facility, and then across the 100 plants that this company has across the globe. And bringing all that data alongside and giving it the contextual information so that the supply chain organization and the rest of the organization can use it to add value to the operation. And this is not what we're trying to be more surgical about what we do and solving problems bit by bit in an agile way. So I love this analogy. We're not trying to have a big complex thing that takes you years and even months and years to figure out, but going in and solving solutions one at a time and creating real value. So yeah, the Tulip solutions, applications that run on the shop floor that are built by local process engineers, coming from a library of applications that have templates and data structures so that people don't have to reinvent the wheel, and connected to the devices on the shop floor, but also the systems of the business as well. And we're here. If you haven't found us, we're down the corridor there. We're also around the corner here in AWS, so come and get hands-on with a demo. And what is the platform? So it starts in the top right-hand corner here with actually the app building. So this is a no-code builder designed for a process engineer. They can go in and within half an hour build a first application, but also fully extensible. So I'm able to almost as I build anything that I can imagine inside Tulip. We have built-in analytics, so every application that runs is actually creating data. I can build those analytics on that data that can then be built back into applications in real time. And the platform is fully open. So the data that's generated by these applications, you can take it out and put it in another system and use it somewhere else. We support all the major protocols to connect to shop floor devices, shop floor machines, REST APIs in the cloud, SQL servers. So allows you to create a system that really is connected, and we don't have some context switching when someone's trying to use the applications. And finally, this is all built on the ecosystem, and this is why I brought Pugal and Chinmay on stage with me, is because we don't believe we can solve problems alone. We'll have many experts and the partners that will help us work with our customers to solve problems, and AWS and Snowflake are one of those. So the way we will work with our ecosystem partners is thinking about solutions that are more mixed than just a point solution to solve, say, an MES problem or a QMS problem, but actually it becomes very mixed. So we might deploy and build a work instruction with a customer that is then creating a start time and an end time for an operation. So it's actually giving me some production visibility, and then I may be doing a quality inspection in that application as well. So it's starting to become part of my QMS. And we find that the solutions we're deploying are expanding their bounds and becoming more focused and connected in the way we deploy the operations. So maybe, Chinmay, let's talk a little bit more about what we're doing with AWS. Recently, we just announced the guidance for running Tulip as part of the IDF, the Industrial Data Fabric. Tell us a bit more, what is Industrial Data Fabric? Why is it important for AWS to have Tulip as part of this?
Absolutely. So before we directly jump into AWS IDF, what I want to share is the ecosystem is really important, and AWS has secure and comprehensive purpose-built services and solutions that many of our manufacturing partners like Tulip is using, and you can see there are many manufacturing partners which emphasizes that we cannot do this alone, and the ecosystem is really important, right? And so AWS has this philosophy and the framework IDF, and we have integrated Tulip with the IDF. What it is going to do is with this integration, we are going to combine the performance metrics data that is coming from IoT site-wise with the app data, application data that is coming from Tulip, and that will help manufacturing users to basically complete the closed loop in the system, where they can enter the root cause and the failure causes in the Tulip, and that will get combined with the performance metrics. At the same time, as the data resides into AWS ecosystem, the scaling to the different sites is going to be exponentially faster as compared to what it can be done alone. With this, our basically expectation in terms of benefits is customers will be able to reduce their scrap rates. They can create the traceability throughout the ecosystem, and they can scale faster.
Yeah. So yeah, I think and what I really like about this is now a reference architecture to help support, or guidance to support IT teams, actually bringing good tools to the shop floor for operators. So
absolutely.
It's been a lot of hard work by both teams, and really great to have this in place. I think additionally, maybe talk a bit about how the AI services on AWS.
Absolutely. So AI and generative AI is playing a pretty big role right now in terms of manufacturing and supporting the operators. So if you see this example, Tulip has built the frontline copilot using AWS LLMs offered through AWS Bedrock, and I just saw the demo, and the cool part of that is if there is a paper manual that can be converted to PDF, and then the apps can directly be generated from the PDF, where operator just has to go and then configure the apps that are already generated using the frontline copilot, which I think is going to be significant to save time and improve the accuracy on how the operator wants to build the app.
Thanks. And I think
tell us more about it.
What our ethos here is to bring those tools, the Bedrock tools, AI, Gen AI tools, the TextRact models that AWS have, and make them easy for the app builder and the process engineer to actually deploy. And that can be some of these triggers whether it's translation or whether it's doing text recognition from documents. You don't need to be a data scientist now to go and deploy these in your manufacturing environment. And also then accelerating the app building with this. If you have a stack of 600 PDF work instructions and you want to digitize them and actually start collecting performance transparency information from those work instructions instead of them just being paper, we can now run them through our app builder, and come and see that demo as well. I'm really impressed with how good it is.
Absolutely.
So now, Pugal, let's move on to the work we've been doing together with Snowflake. And I want to share this. I think this is a very good visual for how we think about it. So on the left-hand side here, you have Tulip. So Tulip, the applications running at the shop floor, connecting to devices, being configured in no code. And we now have an integration of bringing that data natively into Snowflake so that it can be used on analytics. And that's where the exciting stuff starts. So Pugal, talk to us a bit about what the cloud historian and how you're seeing customers using the analytics on Snowflake with their frontline operations data.
Sure, thanks. Again, for Snowflake, this is an important ecosystem play as well, as you mentioned, because we are a cloud company. So we are not on the edge. You cannot run production from the cloud. You need a hybrid partnership, whether it is machine connectivity or asset connectivity or driving business outcomes on top of it. That's where we rely on multiple partners. Obviously, with this partnership, we're able to answer super important questions to our customers. Okay, you have brought in the IT and OT data, or UNS within Snowflake. What do I do with data? How can I enable frontline operators to take decisions, whether it is reading the data or writing back the data, alerts and stuff like that. So that's where Tulip comes into play. So you're not only consuming data, you're also writing back, you're also leveraging our AI Cortex capability to get deeper insights into the data. Whether it is a benchmarking use case, you are trying to figure out why one plant is producing more or less compared to other plant, you need AI ML to do the insights and adjust the process parameters if it comes down to. And quality control, for example, we are working together with Landing AI to provide a fully holistic, integrated solution. Pretty cool demo, by the way, with Landing guys as well, along with digital work instructions, virtual and-on. There is so many things we are doing together. So, yeah, this is a big game for all of us together around supporting Industry 4.0 use cases.
Exactly. And I mean, I like this circularity of this slide, not just because it's a slide that I made, but for another reason. I'm a lean guy at heart. I don't know if anyone knows the PDCA cycle. This to me maps a bit to that PDCA cycle. So I have the production happening, maybe a failure happening in production, analysis happening in Snowflake, but then to actually get impact from that insight from those analysis, I've got to do something about it. And that's where this closed loop part comes in. We need to be able to get that insight to the shop floor, and that insight could be a yield prediction model that's saying, if you change the settings on this machine, you're going to save an extra 10% in yield, or you're going to finish your batch 1 hour earlier. How do we get that to the shop floor so that the operator, the supervisor can actually action on that and implement that? And this is where this full closed loop cycle comes in. So I'm excited about how this partnership continues. And I think this idea that we first sort of coined this morning of the digital and-on, where Snowflake is monitoring processes and creating an and-on alert to the front line to say there's something that's happening that you might want to go forward with, I think is a really nice direction. So 4 use cases that we're really focusing on together with Snowflake. One around calculating the metrics and visualizing performance globally. Secondly, being able to benchmark assets of similar types across different locations. The cloud historian and even predictorian. So how can you make predictions and bringing them back to the shop floor? And then how can we bring that AI, ML learning to the shop floor to drive impact? So we have starting to use this with customers. This is a demo example. I can't show their data, but their environment, where they're creating transparency across, so bringing their Tulip data into Snowflake, creating transparency across sites. This was a GIF that's not working in the PDF, so unfortunately you'll have to come over and see us in our booth if you want to see this. But been great to start our fledgling partnerships, and thank you to the support of AWS. We're here for a few minutes, so would appreciate your questions.